All right, welcome to Timeout with Kevin. This is Coach Eric Colbert. I've been knowing him for a while now, since high school now. So the first question I always ask is the hardest person you ever had to guard?
The hardest person I ever had to guard. So we're going to go ahead and say Paul Pierce, man. Paul Pierce was the hardest person I ever had to guard in high school.
You told me you got dunked on by him.
See, I don't know if I told you I got dunked on. I think I was telling a story. And what took place was my best friend, we used to press, and he went for a steal at half court that he shouldn't have gone for. And I was the back man to press, you know what I mean? He came, and Paul in high school, he was always a big kid, but he's kind of goofy looking, man. So if you didn't really know who he was, you would try to go get that. So I tried to go get that, and he had a heck of a dunk, man. It was one to remember.
I feel you. So tell me about your high school experience. I know growing up in Compton, it's just in California, really. How was your high school experience for you?
Yeah, it was big time, man. We was blessed to be able to play in a heck of a time period. You know, a lot of professional athletes coming out at that time. We didn't know it, of course, then, but it's really, really competitive. You know, like our city had so many basketball players and so many different teams. AAU wasn't really as big back then. It was more about parks. So you represented your neighborhood by playing for your park. And the park teams just used to go at it, man. So you grew up being competitive. And that led you to continue on. You know, once you got to high school, people chose their high school based on where their friends were going. Back then, Compton Dominguez was the big school. Like, Dominguez High School had pros. They had Tayshaun Prince, Tyson Chandler. They had a team that had Kenny Bruner. They had just beat Oak Hill, which was the number one team in high school. That was like more of a prep school. You know what I mean? So they went out there with a bunch of local kids from Compton, beat them, and it kind of turned it up for the city. So everybody was choosing their schools. And I chose Verbum Day in Watts. So was blessed to be able to play with Andre Miller in high school, and we had a heck of a run. I think we lost no league games in 3 years, and we lost 6 games total.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, it was a heck of a good time.
So you chose Compton Community College. Why'd you choose there over any other colleges?
Come in. I chose Compton College partly because my friends were there. We had some friends that were there playing football, actually. My best friend played football there, rest in peace. So he was going there. Then I had made some mistakes, man. Coming out of high school, I didn't take school serious. So my GPA might have been like a 2.7 overall. But where I messed up at was our high school sent us to SAT prep. And I didn't take the SAT prep serious, man. So on my SAT score, I had a great English side, but my math side was terrible. So I had to go JUCO, and I figured if I'm gonna go JUCO, I'm gonna go with my friends. So I chose Compton College. And they were there, they were there for me. They recruited me a little bit, but it was crazy, man, because I was supposed to go to play football. So coming out of high school, it was basketball to football. My high school basketball coach telling all the football coaches, the basketball coaches, he's gonna play football, and he not knowing it in my heart, I didn't love football. I just played football because I was the biggest dude on campus. So, when it came down for decision making, I'm like, I'm gonna play basketball, and all the basketball schools like, hey man, they told us you're gonna go play football. So I didn't get the SAT score. My dad wanted me to just go south. I was gonna go to Southern University. That's what I was planning on doing. Then last second, I was like, nah, you know what? I'm gonna stay at home and hoop. So I went to Compton College, and it was really the best experience for me, man. Like, I grew a lot, matured a lot on and off the basketball floor. And we got a Division I coach. Our coach was the head of the Black Coaches Association, which was really big back then. I don't think they even have it anymore. But like John Thompson, John Chaney, who just passed recently, all of them were like the heads of it. And our coach, Rudy Washington, he was one of the top guys in it. And he came back to JUCO. And so my sophomore year, I had a Division I coach. So it was big time, man. It was a big time environment, very, very talented team. That might have been the most talented team, top to bottom, I've ever been around in my life.
Oh, okay. So then that leads you to Humboldt State. So after 2 years there, how was that 2 years there? And then what made you get into coaching after that?
Humboldt State came again because of a friend. Had a friend that played at Humboldt that was from Compton. He actually went to Dominguez High School and Cerritos Junior College. And he asked me to come. He's like, listen, man, I told him all about you. I think you'd be great here. Went up on a visit. And on the visit, I ain't gonna lie, man, I just fell in love with the place. Beautiful. Sitting in the redwood forest in the ocean. So, like, man, I'm coming. They offered me. I signed. I ain't going on any other visits. I was like, I'm here. Went to Humboldt, played 2 years, had a great experience, man. Grew more as a person. And then when I finished, I got caught up in just living for a minute, man. Like I said, my best friend made it to the NBA. I actually moved with him, and we just hung out for like 2 or 3 years, man. Really, I just enjoyed the NBA life like I was an NBA player. Traveled, did all that. And then my dad was like, you know, at some point you guys are going to have to figure this thing out. Like, as close as you guys are, you know, your paths and your lives are totally different. Like, you got to lead your own lives. And up until that point, we had been so close. We were hanging out. And that's when I made the decision, man. I was like, I'm going to get into coaching. So I started working with kids. And he and I actually started working out kids. And we had a group of kids that worked out with us. And one of them ended up being like top 20 in the nation. And he signed with the University of Nebraska. The guy came on a recruiting trip and tried to get it done. A guy by the name of Scott Spinelli. He was still in the business. And he asked me for my help. And the kid was I ain't gonna say a selfish kid, man, because he might be watching this or he may watch this one day, but he was a kid that he needed the ball in his hands. So it came down to Nebraska or Kansas. And I'm like, hey, man, Kansas is not giving you the ball. Kansas is going to have 3 All-Americans. Nebraska is going to give you the ball. So he chose Nebraska. And long story short, they had some coaching changes and asked me to come on. And that's how I started coaching with the University of Nebraska, my first college coaching job.
And how was that? And how did working at Nebraska kind of shape you to where you are now?
It taught me what I loved about the game and what I hated about the business. Division I basketball is a blessing, man. If anybody has the opportunity to coach or play, I'm gonna say, man, you better go get it because it doesn't last forever. But also what I learned was it is a business. At that level, there's so much money involved. You know, people don't really have the time to foster and build relationships. They don't really have the time to see what's going on with Kevin per se, as long as Kevin is playing ball. Like, as long as Kevin is hooping, we're good. When Kevin stopped hooping, we got to figure something else out. And me, I'm more into, like, how the kid doing and what is he learning beyond basketball. You know, not to say that the coaches weren't, you know, that were there weren't doing that, but to me, it was so focused on basketball. You know, you had your own academic people who did all the academic stuff. You had your own weightlifting people who did all the strength and conditioning. Like, the only thing you did was basketball. You know, you didn't even do the mentoring. The mentoring came from compliance. So here, I mean, that's what told me where I wanted to be, basically. Because I was like, hey, man, you know, being at this level, I love it. I enjoy the private jets and flying everywhere, first class and all that. That's big time. But I want to affect change in young men, you know, and that's what basketball did for me. So I wanted to be able to give that back. And I didn't feel like at that level I could. So that I stepped down to the junior college level.
And so what does coaching mean to you in a couple words? What does it mean to you?
Coaching is preparing the future. You know, basically what you're doing, in my opinion, is you're grooming young men to be men. You know, you're trying to give them things that they hadn't, you know, necessarily gotten before, or things they need to work on. You're trying to help them work on, while basically implementing those things through the process of basketball. You use a basketball is just the vehicle. You know what I mean? Like, everything else is inside that vehicle. Like, basketball is it. That's how I get a chance to touch lives, but I'm doing way more than just basketball, you know. But basketball is my first passion.
So I know you're the head coach now in Mississippi, of all places.
No, I'm not the head coach, but yeah, I am in Mississippi.
I thought you was the head.
No, I'm the head assistant, man. I'm the one and all. I'm the recruiting coordinator.
You should have been the head. I thought you was the head. I swear you was the head.
Yeah, man. You know, you probably be the third person this week that actually just said that, man. Like, someone else told me the same thing. No, I'm in a great position, but I'm not a head coach yet.
I was about to ask you, how is it up there now, especially being in Mississippi?
Mississippi is very different. But I tell you, this is not what you think. You know, you look at the stereotypes and you think Mississippi is this crazy place. Be very honest with you, Kansas is a lot more dangerous to me than Mississippi.
Kansas?
Yeah, Kansas was a tough place to live in. But for me, Mississippi is cool. I like Mississippi.
I've always wanted to go to those like the southern states. I've never really been.
Really?
I've never been. I've
Hey
been
man, you know,
all the stuff with Chris. Really, I've been like went to Texas, like Nebraska, little places like that. But just listening to stuff with Chris, I never really traveled.
so you weren't on the team when we went to South Carolina?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you weren't on that team? Yeah, we took 2 groups to South Carolina, man. We went to Myrtle Beach twice.
Oh wow! I came. Yeah, that first year is the only year I played with them.
Oh, that's right. You only played 1 year with them.
You only played 1 year.
We went to before you got there when I really was into it like that, like before things kind of changed up when I was really coaching with Chris the whole summers. We went to Myrtle Beach. Myrtle Beach was the first trip of the year. Every year we go to Myrtle Beach.
Mm.
Oh, Chris.
Okay. All right, so switching over. You said you're best friends with Andre Miller. So talk a little bit about that and seeing him kind of from high school to how he had that long NBA career.
Blessed, extremely blessed. Like I said, we had the opportunity to play on a really good high school basketball team. And I still had the newspapers. They asked us in high school who would go into the NBA on our team. And no one chose him. No one. And that's because our team was so talented and we were so unselfish. He never really stood out. Like, we know he have 22 and 15 and 7 assists, but no one else really paid attention. And so, like I tell people all the time, he was a power forward in high school, which was one of the reasons why he was able to post up so much in the NBA against guards.
He's what, like 6 foot, 6'1"?
6'1" and a half, 6'2", maybe. But he was our power forward, man, and the most unselfish guy. You know, he was blessed to have a 17-year NBA career, had one of the best, I guess, rookie seasons for a point guard ever, led the league in assists as a second-year player, did some great things, very underrated, I think, you know, in terms of what he was able to bring to the game. But it was great to watch, man. Like I tell everybody, like I was blessed to be able to, I don't think you choose your friends, man, as much as God puts them in your life. And we became friends as 14-year-olds, man, and we're close and still close to this day, man. We went through a lot together. But to watch him be able to fulfill his dreams, like I remember his first phone call back, he was like, "E, you know, I'm at Utah, man. They got me playing the point." And I was like, "Boy, y'all in trouble. Like, you way too slow to play point guard, man. Like, y'all don't have guards." And he was like, "Man, they got me playing the point." And I never forget, man, like his senior year, I took a year off between my junior and senior year. I redshirt. I had to catch up academically. And so I went out to Utah to see his games, and it was amazing. Like, we in the Huntsman Center, it's 17,000 strong, and they all there for him. And I'm like, man, that's my guy. Like, and everywhere we go into town, it's like Andre Miller t-shirts and people stopping to take pictures. And I'm like, bro, this the same dude. He's such a humble guy. He stopped every time. Like, I'm like, bro, I couldn't be you. Like, I couldn't do this. But he was, you know what I mean? It was for him. You know what I mean? That route in life was for him, and he's made a great he took advantage of it.
Yeah. So I know you've been from LA. So can you talk a little bit about Laker basketball and how Kobe changed the landscape of LA?
First off, man, and I respect and love Kobe. He didn't change the landscape, though, man. It was a man named Magic Johnson. Like, and it's funny to me because when people talk about the greatest players of all time, I never hear Magic's name called, right? But since you know you're young and you got your podcast, look up the fact that Magic won 5, right? Played in 8 in 10 seasons. That's it. Wasn't no 17 years or 8. How long LeBron been in the league?
It's about 17.
Yeah, not 17 years. We're talking 5 championships in 10 years. Really changed the game and took it off. But like, you know, I'll tell you a short story. I'm a diehard Laker fan, as you know. When we drafted Kobe or traded for Kobe in the draft, I was hurt, damn near in tears, man. And I look back on it now. I wrote a poem about it, man. I think I was really more selfish that the Lakers took a high school kid and didn't take me. But that first year we played the Utah Jazz, man, and he shot them air balls.
Yeah.
I could have traded him myself. But it's funny, man, because I think what hurt me more about him passing, because I didn't know him personally, was the fact that I think I grew up with him. You know what I mean? Like, as he grew, I grew. Around the same age. I watched him play the games. I watched him miss those shots. I watched him transform his body. I watched him work hard. I watched him turn into the Kobe Bryant that you guys got a chance to see later on, the Black Mamba. His work ethic, the ability to outlast anything, any kind of situation that came in front of him. So, it's crazy because it hit me rough. Like, man, Kobe gone? Like, not Kobe. And I was telling my mom, I'm like, I grew up with Kobe. Like, I wasn't never a big Kobe. My friends will tell you, like, when he first got, I disliked him a lot, but I learned to love him because I loved his work ethic and what he stood for.
So, all right, here's the bonus questions.
Here we go.
All right, so start, bench, cut, and one does not exist ever. Does not play NBA basketball.
Okay.
All right, so I got Kobe, Magic, Kareem, and Shaq.
Start, bench, cut, and one never plays.
One never played. Doesn't exist.
Woo! Well, of course, man, me being me, regardless of what they say, I'm going to start Magic.
Start Magic.
I'm benching Kobe. And I'm going to end up cutting Kareem.
You going to cut Kareem? Okay, Shaq.
You said one can't exist, right?
Yeah.
So Shaq never existed. I love Shaq, too. I tell kids all the time, Shaq today would be the best player in the league by far, no comparison, not even.
Do you think so? Me and my best friend, we was just talking about that. We didn't know how Shaq would be dominant, but like just the way the game is spaced out now.
Okay, let me tell you why that would be bad for people. So imagine putting Shaq on an island with Joel Embiid with no help defense. First off, you can't stop him. There's nothing Joel Embiid can do. Now, I'm telling you that when people say, well, Joel Embiid, Shaq and the young Shaq can guard Joel Embiid. Easy. On the wing, on the perimeter. Shaq used to go coast to coast when he was first in the league, man. Like, push the ball in transition. Shaq was different, bro. Like, Shaq would average. But, I mean, I feel that way about a lot of those guys. Like, I don't think, like, yeah, and I love the new dudes. Don't get it twisted. But the new basketball, to me, is the weakest version of basketball. So, I think if you put Allen Iverson in this generation, monster numbers. No one can compare. Kobe, start young Kobe now, starting over. It's going to get ugly. Michael Jordan, just hang about 60. Oh, yeah, Olajuwon. That's one nobody ever said. Who going to guard Olajuwon?
Seriously.
You going to put Kevin Love on him? Yeah, okay. Don't think you want to do that, buddy. You going to put DeMarcus Cousins? He can't move? I mean, who would you put on? You going Anthony Davis with no weight? Dog, it's a whole different. Them ball players in the 80s and 90s, bro, that was a different game.
All right, next question. All-time starting five. Anybody who's ever played that you can think of, all-time starting five.
Well, I like to do this by position. So if I'm going to go position for position, I'm putting Magic Johnson at the 1, Michael Jeffrey Jordan at the 2, Kobe Bean Bryant at the 3, and my 4 and 5, even though I just cut him, my 5 is going to be Shaq. My 4 is a little different, though. My 4 is going to be Olajuwon.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Tim Duncan.
Nah, I love Tim Duncan, but Tim didn't want no parts of Olajuwon either. No. Different kind of monster. Tim probably is the most fundamentally sound player ever, does things the right way. Bro, Olajuwon was unstoppable. His footwork, and I tell people this all the time, I tell kids this, if you really want to learn basketball, you want to get better at your craft, especially for most people, go watch his footwork tapes. Try to learn that. Because if you can do that, there's some place for you to play, guaranteed.
Right. This is a little different. Top 5 favorite artists of all time.
Favorite artists? Rappers?
Yeah, you can go rappers.
Okay. So favorite artists of all time. 1, Tupac Shakur.
This is an order?
No, I'm just top 5. 1 is Pac. I got to go with Jay-Z. Lauryn Hill. After Lauryn Hill, it's crazy because I didn't like him when I was a kid, but I respect his music so much now. I got to go Prince. And my 5th one is the person I've been begging people. I say, man, you just do a versus with this dude. I swear to God, the rest of the world would lose. Hey, man, I know he a pedophile, but R. Kelly. It's over. So, hey, I mean, I just call it a spade, man. He did some things that I don't agree with. But now, musically, gifted, writing, singing, producing, no, brother. They talk about Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson has a great catalog. Prince has a great catalog. R. Kelly catalog is never ending, man. It's different.
Because you being from Compton to that's so hard. You got like just being in Cali, you got like Kendrick Lamar.
I love Kendrick.
I love Kendrick too. He's my favorite.
How about this argument? Let me ask you this one. So I just heard this coming out of my locker room today. Kendrick or Game?
Kendrick.
Game said Kendrick can't out rap.
I saw that. Kendrick was.
Yeah, I think Game is smoking too much medical marijuana. He stopped.
Yeah.
No chance.
It's Kendrick. All the way. I'm a Kendrick supporter. Kendrick.
Oh yeah, Kendrick's different, man. Different.
Different.
Very educated young man too, man. If you ever had the opportunity, man. Very smart guy.
Hey man, that's it. I want to thank you. Do you have any questions for me before we end it?
Yeah, man. Who the best coach you ever had, man?
Best coach I ever had. Oh, I've been asked that a lot.
It's a trick question, bro.
You did help a lot. You helped me as far as like because I had tough coaches in high school, right? But I feel like you really prepared me for like how college really is. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like how tough it was, and especially playing the competition we were kind of facing back then, you know.
Right.
And I feel like you really helped me with that. And I say you, and then my freshman coach, his name was Trent Parrish. He was the first coach that was ever like super duper hard on me. Y'all two, and then my stepdad, Jamar, he helped a lot.
Of course.
Y'all three, for sure.
I feel you. And who's your best?
Because you was tough on me.
Had to be, man.
In the summertime,
you kept taking them shots, bro. You was taking them shots like you was Kobe out there, man.
I do. I still do it.
I could only imagine when y'all start playing again, get off your COVID streak. Send me the game film. I want to watch it, man. But I'm happy for you, man. Watching you mature, seeing you do this sort of thing, man. It's big time. And like I said, basketball has been a blessing to be able to coach y'all with the Oklahoma Impact, all the junior college kids I coached, the D1 kids, all that is big time, man. Like, I just look back, man, it's been a major blessing. God blessed me to be able to do this for so long. So just trying to keep it rolling, man.
For sure. I appreciate you, Coach Colbert.
For sure, man. Hey, man, take care. Whenever you're ready to have me on here, man, let me know when you want to ask some tough questions, bro.
I got you.
Tell the family hello, man.
All right, I got you. I will.
All right, now. Yes, sir.